Hello, hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Phil Januszewski. I am a speaker, teacher, and creator that loves pouring into adult givers. I love to do keynote speeches, and I've also been a chemistry and physics teacher in high school since the year 2005. So I'm excited. I'm ready for whatever the Q&A throws our way. Gonna hang on, let everybody start coming in. Hope everyone's enjoying the first day. This is going to be a great conference. I believe the wonderful Miss Brittany is going to be joining me here momentarily. I'm excited to get the day started with everybody. For anyone who might be throwing out Q&As our way, thank you. Just been updated. A little misunderstanding on my end. I thought Brittany and I were going to be talking together, so my apologies. Hello, everybody. If you didn't know and I didn't realize that I was doing the official intro, I was kind of playing it cool to see what was going on, but we'll let this roll. Perfect. My name's Phil Januszewski. Like I said, I'm a speaker, teacher, and creator. I'm a high school chem and physics teacher. I've been teaching since the year 2005. In August, I'm going to be going back to school. This is going to be the start of my 20th year. Besides that, I've been a motivational speaker since the year 2013. I have been a motivational speaker for youth, first of all, with my company M&P Presentations and my best friend, Matt Makovich. And we've been pouring into teens, helping them cultivate confidence and promoting a positive mindset since 2013. We've been having a great time doing that. And then since COVID, I've been really pulling on my heartstrings. I know that the adult givers of the world, teachers, educators, administrators, so many great humans are in need of support in order to show up to their personal life first so that their professional life can be even better. And I love giving people those strategies to do so. So I know that I've been chatting with the wonderful moderator, Miss Brittany, and I know she's going to be throwing some questions my way. And I'm going to start looking up here and see if there's any official comments. Looks like we've got Margaret from South Carolina. Welcome, Margaret. Excited to get the Q&A started and to see what's going on. Excellent. Margaret's in her year 12, teaching second grade. First of all, thank you for doing that. I teach high school. I've got it easy. Elementary school is a whole nother ball game. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, so my kids are still going through the elementary world, and the amount of prep, the amount of transitions, work, classroom management is just overwhelming. So it really is something. So Margaret, thanks so much. I bet you agree. I know that we've got some comments coming in. Feel free to check out my session if you haven't already. I'm excited for you guys to learn from it. And I'm finally starting to figure out now how this setup goes. So I'm feeling good and comfortable. Erica, welcome from North Carolina, 4th grade. Again, another elementary school teacher. Thank you so much for that. While people are introducing themselves, something that I love to talk about is that when we take care of our personal lives first, we can then be able to show up to our lives more in our professional life. And to do that, I love to dig into a couple things. I love to dig into what I call my ers. So my ers are the things that I am. I'm a father, I'm a teacher, I'm a creator. And from there, uh, if I dig into those ers, if I build them into my daily schedule in a way that without even thinking about it, I'm hitting on more of the things in my life that lift me up, that light me up. I think that that allows me then to build up more energy in my life so that I can show up not only to life, but work more inspired, less tired, feeling more like I'm thriving and less like I'm just surviving. So that's something I absolutely love to talk about. Looks like Erica's getting on her plane. I know that there's been a huge Microsoft outage today. My wife is in the business world, and she opened up to a green screen this morning, which everyone's been calling the green screen of death, which I find disturbing. But apparently, when things go really bad, your screen goes green. So I know the world has been a little topsy-turvy today, so we will have to go from there. But feel free, friends, if you have any questions or anything that you're struggling with in the classroom or in life, the things that you just want to talk about or hear more about, I'm here to chat it up and to get into a Q&A to see what everybody's up to. Yes, Erica was mentioning how it's been a mess at the airport. A lot of flights have been grounded because there haven't been the proper background and backbone of technology in order for the flights to go off. So totally get it. I'm actually jumping on a flight tomorrow. We're headed to Chattanooga. Matt and I, we're going to be speaking at a youth conference for a couple days called Tennessee Strong, TN Strong. And it's a great youth leadership retreat, 4 days of fun, but we're hoping we're able to fly there. Otherwise, it'll be about a 10-hour drive, but we'll get there nonetheless. So anybody traveling today, sending good vibes and good energy your way. Yeah, so I know that some people haven't had a chance to watch the video yet and completely understood. So what I love talking about, and I briefly talked about it earlier, but the idea of leaning into your purpose. So when we're able to, as adults, start to figure out the things that light us up, the things that allow us to feel like we're thriving, that is natural to us. So for me, something quirky and unique to myself is that I'm a cook. So I'm a cooker, I'm a baker, I'm a creator. Those are things that aren't necessarily in my job description, but that make me me. And also when I do them, I don't get depleted. I get extremely energized. So the more of those ers in your life that you can find and figure out, and you can start thinking about, all right, if these are things that are valuable to my life, that energize me, that excite me, am I building them into my daily routine in some way? So for me, I'm a huge advocate of a really strong daily schedule. I know not everybody is, but for me, it really works. Not only am I a husband and a father, but I'm a teacher. I also own 2 speaking businesses. I run a online teacher membership as well. And I'm also a part-time caretaker for my father who's ill right now. So there's definitely, just like everybody, there's a lot on our plates. So for me, a schedule and a structure really helps me so that by the end of the day, when I have an opportunity to lay down and go to sleep, I don't keep thinking back and thinking, oh man, did I work out today? Oh man, did I listen to music today, which I love? Oh man, did I talk to my kids today? So with my schedule, it's automatically built in all the ers: father, creator, listener, lifter, exerciser, learner, communicator, all those things I've built into my daily schedule. And by the time I go to bed at night, even though we all know our schedules never go out perfectly, especially in education, we always have a game plan every day, right? But it never works out perfectly, and that's okay. But having a structure, you hit on majority of the things you wanted to. And the reason that's valuable is because if you know you want to, let's say, just exercise today, but you don't know when you're going to do it and you don't schedule it, there's a good chance that it can accidentally go by the wayside because it takes extra energy to plan things 100% when you don't have it already scheduled out. But we're already using so much energy in our everyday life in all different directions. Maybe it's being a parent, maybe it's being that educator during that time. Whatever it is, it takes a lot of energy. So by having the plan in advance, there's way less energy we're spending on thinking about when am I going to do it. It's already set up. Now, if something comes in, takes the position of something you were planning on doing, we all know the drill. And as educators, we're good at that. We can switch things around, swap, but that still takes less energy because you're already hitting on some of them automatically. So I love to challenge the givers of the world to think about, listen, you give for a reason. You love making a difference in the world. And for education, that's an obvious one. Such a valuable and important job that we should be proud of. However, we do know that there's many challenges that come with that. So by starting with thinking upstream and setting up your life and your day for success where you're hitting on more uplifting things than depleting things, because we all know in everything in life, we're going to have things that deplete us, things that take us away from what we really want to do. For me, I'll be completely transparent. In education, the thing that depletes me the most is actually grading. It's important, it's valuable, but it's something that I don't particularly enjoy doing. I find it tedious, especially big labs. So I schedule that in my day in a way where there's a time for me to do it when I'm feeling the most energetic, where I can push through and be the most resilient. I wouldn't be grading my labs at the very end of the day before my last hour. That would be something that would be too taxing mentally for me. So again, me knowing that about myself, knowing the things that deplete my life and my energy, I try to strategically place those tasks in a time of day where I'm more likely to be resilient and push through and do a good job without overwhelming myself, burning myself out, or getting really negative or cynical. So I do think, though, that even it's a simple idea, the structure to set up your life can make a profound impact on the way you show up to the classroom and just to your own personal life. When I see coworkers coming in that are dragging in, exhausted, chugging coffee, kind of slumped over, kind of give you the morning nod and grunt, I feel so bad for them because I'm feeling the exact opposite by then. With my schedule, I've woken up, I've exercised, I did a little breathing, I did 3 points of gratitude, I took a shower, I had an opportunity to see my daughter in the morning and have breakfast with her. I don't get to see my son anymore. He's a preteen, so he sleeps in a lot more now, friends. But that morning routine allows me to show up feeling like, man, I've done a lot for myself already. While I was working out, I was listening to music, which is a huge part of my life and totally energizes me. Or I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast because I'm curious and love to learn. That energizes me as well. So when you think about from my 5 a.m. workout to by the time I get to school at 7:20 a.m., for 2 hours and 20 minutes, I've built in my morning with things that fill me up, that energize me, that get me excited. So friends, if you are like, man, I'm just slogging into work, chugging coffee, barely making it. First of all, you may have a newborn kid or a poor sleeping kid. I get it. I've been there, right? However, when you are able to build in the day so that you're getting those things that kickstart your day, it can make a huge impact. And the most important thing is that as an educator, we have to be extremely patient. We have to check our ego at the door, and we have to be super empathetic. And we all know that the toughest students sometimes to love are the ones that need it the most. Don't tell me that when we show up to work exhausted, negative, in a wrong headspace, just foggy and fuzzy still because we haven't woken up. Don't tell me that we're able to provide what we really truly want to provide to those students, especially the ones that need the most of our energy and the most attention. It's nearly impossible. And so when we start looking through all of these challenges that we have daily as educators, sometimes the question comes up like, why do we bother doing this? Why Why would I even put up with this in my life? There's so many other things that I think could be easier. And I think that's a fair question, but I always want to counter that question with, well, we do it because we know it's important. We do it because the future and children are worth it, even though it's difficult. It's really, really tough days sometimes. There's a lot of challenges that honestly, unless you're in the education system, you don't completely understand. From the outside looking in, our job looks very different. That's just something we have to accept. Perception is different than the reality in the education system. But you and I all know if we're in the classroom, it's a very different story. Being able to prioritize our own start of the day wellness, health is super unselfish, because by taking care of you, you're able to show up and make even more positive, natural, organic impact. So if you needed the reminder, if you needed the permission, if you needed to just stop and think, wait, is this me? Am I in a habit, just a rotating, revolving door of this cycle of just kind of showing up, not fully ready? And I don't mean ready like lesson plans, though those are valuable. I mean like ready, like mentally to tackle the day and try to make the best possible outcome. If you are in that habit, the best way to start changing that is by simply adding and building in a couple of the good things that really fill you up. Could be great music in the morning on your drive to work. It could be reading 5 minutes, waking up 5 minutes earlier and reading 5 minutes of something you really enjoy. It could be breathing. Friends, I'm a pretty bad human. I thought the whole breathing thing and meditating was such a waste of time and such hippie stuff. And I finally read a book about maybe 3 years ago about breath and the value of it. And in all sincerity, my 5 minutes of breathing by myself alone after my workout really calms me and like just sets me up for feeling really good in the morning, even though when I woke up early, I didn't feel like it. So I've learned some hacks and tricks in my daily routine that not only allow me to get up earlier than I normally would want to probably, but it allows me to feel good about it. And by the end of that 2-hour morning routine, man, I feel like I can take on the world, and I can take it on in a really happy and healthy way. I love that. Erica says you always have to, listening to something when I get ready in the morning to start my day on the right foot. That's great. There are a lot of natural conveniences that we have now, a lot of us in our home. So, for example, in my bathroom, we have a little Echo Alexa. So you can just ask it to play music. You can have it continue to play your podcast. I mean, we talk about a spoiled time in the world. We have a lot of things at our fingertips that can help us build in some of those things that really fill us up. So, Eric, I'm glad you shared that. Finding little things. And I'll always love to give my examples, but obviously my examples work for me. Everybody's different on what they need. Some people just need some peace and quiet and a really nice, good smelling cup of coffee. I think that's great. I love coffee. I drink decaf because I get shaky from caffeine, but I love the smell of it and the taste of it and the thought of it. It really is soothing to me. So I enjoy a good cup of coffee. And I think that, yeah, Margaret's saying peace and quiet. That's a beautiful thing. And now for those of you who have families, peace and quiet might not be completely available all the time or rarely. So thinking about when can I create that space is worth the energy today so that it saves and produces energy tomorrow. So think about that. Would peace and quiet be best for you in the morning? And if so, is there a way for you to get up slightly earlier than the loud people in your house? That's what ended up happening to me because I love to exercise every day. It clears my head. But I honestly never, ever wanted to get up at 4:40 a.m. every day in the school year. I never did. And I don't naturally wake up at that time. However, I started thinking, if I really want to get a workout in, but I also want to be a present father, I need to get that done before any of my kids are awake. So what I started doing was I started waking up a little earlier until I got to 4:40. And even though I didn't enjoy it, even though a lot of times I started thinking, oh, I hate this, I do not want to get up this early. I learned a little hack from a personal development book that as soon as you sit up, before you can tell yourself that you're exhausted, tired, you don't feel like doing this, I force myself to say 3 things of gratitude. So it's now become a total habit to me. In the beginning, it was really weird and awkward and felt super like, I don't know, out there, hippie for me. But I would wake up and go, I'm grateful to have a warm bed. I'm grateful for the 2 beating hearts, my children on the other side of my wall. I'm grateful to be next to my wife, my best friend. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. And before I started to think back, gosh, I just want to lay back down in my warm bed and go back to bed. The gratitude points totally psyched my brain out and blocked out the negative thoughts of going back to bed. And all of a sudden, I pushed past that little breaking point where I would have just turned the alarm back on and went back. And now, after a couple of weeks, it became a habit. And every day I wake up, even when I get to sleep in on the weekends, I still get up and it's a natural thing. What am I grateful for? In all honesty, it's been a really valuable thing for me, good habit, just because I start my day off on a great note. So someone said, just one question. On that schedule, do you include taking schoolwork at home? That's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. So I try to do as much schoolwork at school as possible. So we do get a prep hour every day in my school for high school. So that's a 48-minute period, which I know will probably be shocking to my incredible elementary teachers. You guys get so little prep time, which is so unfair. So I get 48 minutes. I also, instead of eating lunch with others, even though socially I miss connecting more with my coworkers, I also grade and do schoolwork during my lunch. And by doing that, I'm able to get majority of my work done. I've also, over the years, started thinking about, will grading this bring value to the student, or will grading this simply just give them points or a grade for me to give them a certain amount? So we started doing a lot less grading for points, and we did a lot more grading together in class. Also with high school students, I make videos of all my homework, every problem. I also have answer keys online. So a lot of times they can complete it even if they didn't do it by just writing down the answer key. So I don't give value like to their homework as far as points. We do a quick little check-in grade to keep tabs on, are you doing your work or not? But by doing that, that's eliminated so much of my nightly grading so that I really get to focus on those labs, which are very robust, take a long time to grade. And then also I've built in a lot of formative assessments where I scaffold my quizzes. So majority of what I grade are labs, quizzes, and tests. And because of that, I'm able to build that in my day the way I've eliminated grading problem by problem homework. So it did take a while for me to find a way to do it where I still felt like this was still good for student learning and not just me trying to be a slacker. And also for me to be able to still like, will students be learning and assessing themselves? So I will say, though, I know this has nothing to do necessarily with my talk, but one thing that changed my life in the grading system, and again, this is high school, is what every unit that we have about 3 or 4 quizzes. And a lot of times students struggle in quizzes. They think they know it better than they do. They end up bombing it. In the past, that would just be their grade and that's it. But now what I do is my quizzes are always scaffolded till the end of the test of that unit. So I tell them, I don't care what happened on your quiz. If you get a higher grade on your test, any quiz that's lower than that score, I will bump up to that higher grade because that represents what you know now. So maybe you did only know 50% of the material on quiz 1. But now on the test, you show me that you know 90% of the material. I tell my students and their parents, doesn't it make sense then for that unit, if by the end they know 90%, their grade should be a 90% for that unit? it reflects that. So what I do is I go in and I change every grade, every quiz score, which is 3 or 4 grades for the unit, to bump them up. And what that allows them to see is that learning does take mistakes. Learning does take growth. So that is something that has dramatically changed. Problems in my classroom with like students being like, my grade is so low, what can I do? If they struggle early on, they can learn from their mistakes, fix it, and they're going to find by the end of the unit that if they know the material, their grade will represent what they really know. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I went on a tangent, but that's really been a dramatic change for me that has allowed students to feel more in control of their learning. Because, yeah, they struggled maybe in the beginning, but they're so proud by the end that they showed me what they really know. And now they're not marked down for it from 4 weeks ago when their unit started because they had a really bad day with a quiz. So that's something just cool to think about and consider for your classroom. And again, I know in the elementary school setting, that might be a little bit different, but I think that's a valuable thing. Forgive me, I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Get to teach the future. I love that. I like to do all my work at school also. Yes. Oh, thank you, Margaret. Male educators are so essential. I appreciate that. I do work in a school. I'm very lucky where it's fairly balanced. It's a little heavier female side, but there are plenty of males as well. I'm very lucky too. My students' elementary school has quite a few male teachers as well. So there's a good back and forth of what the students see. And I think that's great. Yeah, having a little bit of variety can be a really beautiful thing, I think. And that students learn from all kinds of teachers too, which is something I'm glad my school celebrates. There's many different styles of teachers. And I think it's great when students get all those different styles. Some teachers are a little bit more laid back. Some teachers are a little more strict and specific. Right? And I think that what that does in the end is it gives children experiences where they learn how to work with all kinds of people. And then when they go out and find whatever career they want to do, they're going to be working with all kinds of people as well. So I actually I'm a huge advocate of students having so many different styles and types of teachers that look different, that speak differently, that act differently. I know that some people argue that that can be stressful on a student because expectations aren't always as clear. But I do think that part of life is figuring that out. And a lot of times we learn the hard way when we misjudge a situation. And I think we've all been there. I've misjudged situations so many times. And from that, I've learned, I've become more aware, etc. So, friends, if there's any more questions you have or things that are on top of your mind with education that you're thinking about, I'd be happy to share my thoughts and points or experiences. That's no worries. I know we have about 2 minutes left into the Q&A, but I really do hope that if you are listening to this at any point or you do watch my video later, I do hope that it just simply shifts your perspective and gives you a little bit of self-reflection. And by that, I simply mean look at your life currently and think, is there anything personally that I can do a little tiny shift that isn't so overwhelming that it depletes me, but a little shift that's actually going to give me a little win? And when we start stacking up those little positive wins, we start creating in positive psychology, they call that an upward spiral. And we start looking at more opportunities and looking for more ways to positively impact our life. So as we wrap up, and thank you so much for the kindness and comments coming from you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing this time with me. I know time is currency, time is money, and people are super busy. And I know that Miss Brittany Blackwell saying to jump over to the Q&A, which is going to be really cool. There's another Q&A coming up, so I hope you guys check that out. But in the end, I just want to send you all health, happiness, and patience. And if there's any way that I can ever brainstorm with you, connect, bring value your way, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, I'm Phil Januszewski. My handle on all social media is at Phil Januszewski. Reach out, say hello. I'll be cheering you on. And if you are a teacher looking for a teacher family, I run that teacher membership. We meet 2 Wednesdays virtually a month at 7:30 p.m. Central, and we just pour into each other. And I run the meeting where each time we learn one new strategy to help us personally flourish a little bit better. So it's a great family with teachers all across the nation. Feel free to jump in. Let me know, and you can be a guest and just check it out if it's a family that fits for you. But otherwise, thanks to everyone who listened. Shout out to Brittany Blackwell. Thanks for putting on this event and bringing so many great humans together just to give and pour into the most people in the world, our educators, creating our future. And the future is bright, friends. I know there's a lot of hurdles, but it's bright. So it's 10:30, Brittany. I don't know if you need me to do anything to officially leave the studio, but thanks, everybody. Take care and don't miss what message is coming up here. Join us for the next Q&A with Miss Clay. I love it. All right. Take care, everyone. Health, happiness, and patience. Be well.